Well, colleagues, partners, colleagues, thank you for your patience. We moved quickly, I thought, in the final session, and I do not want to give a lot of remarks. The title of this policy forum is Plan with Youth. We tried to make youth participate with us all through, and they have done so very efficiently, very effectively, I thought. We were not here to give ideas to UNESCO what to do or to IIEP what to do. We were getting together to think about what we all will do. And it's not only that you leave and then you leave all these beautiful recommendations with IIEP and with UNESCO and the partners within this policy forum. It's a forum for us to reflect together and to move forward together, also with others, people, countries, representatives, organizations, individuals who did not participate here. I'm not sure that we brought many new things to this forum. We brought many things we already know. These were the remarks which we heard this afternoon. What's new? What's new is that we are focusing again on an important issue, the issue of youth and what is education about when it comes to our children, to our fellow human beings and the youth, and to the world we're leaving behind for them, not the youth who are here, but we, the older generation. I'm not sure I came out with answers on how to plan with youth. I came with some ideas, and I have my own ideas as well, and the IIEP has its own ideas, and UNESCO has its own ideas, but we have to work further on these. I do not think that we are right if we assume that education is the only response to all these issues which youth are facing. It has to be policies related to the economy, to employment, to national development. It cannot be education alone bearing the responsibility for everything. And this did not come a lot in our discussions. It came a little bit, but not a lot in our discussions. What to do next? We will certainly hold even a meeting for partners immediately after this closing session. We will work on what we have gathered from you. We will certainly share it with you very soon as we can. After we work on it, we estimate that it will be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but this is the time frame we're talking about. It's not a year. We hope it will not collect dust, but the question rests with us what kind of mechanism we will create for follow-up. And that we haven't discussed here. We got some elements, but we did not come up with the conclusions and with the answers and with the decisions on what we do next and what mechanism. But that we will also share with you soon. I will stop here because I do not want to delay my senior colleagues from UNESCO. Please let me introduce Ms. Pilar Álvarez-Laso. She's the Assistant Director General for Social and Human Sciences at UNESCO. We already have her on the program, and I have requested my colleagues to be very brief as well. I'm aware of the time and that we have to leave this hall very soon. Please.
Your Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to be with you here today at the culmination of these 3 days of work. Through this policy forum, you have examined an important and diverse thematic agenda that touches upon the most current preoccupations of youth across the world. You have debated on appropriate and pertinent ways to engage youth in planning education systems, content, and approaches in order to support conflict resolution, greater and meaningful civic participation for community building, and the transition to the world of work, including soft skills. You indeed have been speaking and working about social innovation. As many of you have mentioned throughout the forum, engaging youth is not linear, it is not a one-way process. It implies that you are able to exercise and fulfill their rights as political, economic, and social actors, and also as leaders in their communities, in their countries, globally, but not only rights. Also, you have been talking about giving opportunity for them to exercise responsibilities, and that's important that we keep in mind that there are two sides to the coin. The social and human sciences sector in UNESCO was particularly interested to see the focus on the need to develop holistic, context-specific, and research-based inclusive policies, as well as the importance of mainstreaming and integrating youth civic engagement practices across the board in terms of programmatic interventions. It was also very compelling to see the emphasis given on the role and concerns of youth differently abled, sometimes called with the word disabilities, but that's a stigma that we need to still to move ahead from. Differently abled people, differently abled youth. But it is also about engaging with youth living in vulnerable situations, and those we refer particularly to youth living in rural areas and in post-conflict situations. When looking at the Agenda for Action that has come out of the forum, I am pleased to see that it consists of concrete, tangible actions that build on current work and at the same time address emerging challenges through innovative approaches, even though you were very humble to say that there is still a lot to do, and of course, you're right, Khalil. It is also responsibilities, what we have been talking here, as I said, and it is very timely to talk about responsibilities, and I mention it again because this year UNESCO celebrates the 15th anniversary of the Declaration, Universal Declaration on the responsibilities of present generations towards future generations, and education is about it. The social and human sciences sector at UNESCO, through our MOST program, which is an intergovernmental and scientific program of the social sciences called Management of Social Transformations, as well as the youth program, Youth-Led Social Innovation Program, stands ready to work with the IIEP, the UNESCO chairs, and all the partners involved in order to follow up on this action agenda through our ongoing and planned programs on inclusive youth policy development, political and civic participation for community building, and youth-led social innovation. It is also important to ensure that linkages with the UNESCO Youth Forum process is followed. As it was mentioned already in the opening of the forum, this action agenda is built around the three thematic areas that were debated during last year's forum. It was held in October in UNESCO, and we are looking forward to the next edition next year. And it will, of course, be about education. It will, of course, need the participation of youth delegates from all the countries, and is key in terms of maximizing the impact of the Youth Forum to avoid duplications and capitalizing on our respective networks. It will also ensure, the forum will also ensure that this action agenda and follow-up work on your recommendations are meaningfully channeled into the preparations of the forum that will take place at the end of October, beginning of November next year, here in UNESCO as an integral part of our General Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you once again. I want to thank, of course, the Institute, International Institute for Educational Planning, and the UNESCO chairs, National University of Ireland, Galway, and the University of Ulster, for having spearheaded this important initiative in follow-up to the 7th UNESCO Youth Forum. We are pleased to contribute in both its inception, its conception also. Also, we have been involved in the organization, and we commit to supporting follow-up fully within our existing capacities. It is because your enthusiasm and our commitment that we can also say that we have crossed a threshold. Youth is not anymore a mere subject of studies or of policies. It is active, they are active agents, not only actors, active agents of social transformations. I can't but congratulate you all now to finish for your participation in this policy forum, for the quality of the debate, and for the several recommendations that have indeed seeded in us new ways of working. Thank you very much.
Thank you again. As you know, IIEP, as we have explained on several occasions, is part of UNESCO, but very specifically part of the education sector within UNESCO. And I'm delighted that we have with us the Assistant Director General for Education, Mr. Qian Tang. I give him the floor immediately, and after that, we will just, I will finish by saying a few things together with the UNESCO chairs at the end after we listen to Mr. Tang. Mr. Tang, we're delighted to have you here.
Thank you, Khalil. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I'm very pleased to be here to attend this closing, but I'm not very pleased because I'm here only for closing. I should be here from the beginning, but probably I want to have your excuse that we are having our executive board meeting this week, so I was there tied up to have sitting there, listen what member states say and what they want and what they want me to answer. So I missed a big part of this very interesting event. But however, my colleagues briefed me, and also I met several ministers who attend this meeting, and they all told me this is very interesting and very useful for them. So I'm happy to be here. At least I come here at the last moment to close this very good events. And you're here to talk about youth. I don't think I need to repeat why we think youth is so important. We just say youth is young people, they are our future. And of course, then we have to provide education and training to them. So we have to say no education will be no future for them. I think that's why we are here to talk about how we can do in education, training to help our youth and the young generations. And then many of you probably attend the launching of our global monitoring report for EFA yesterday. If you read the report carefully, you can see it's a very challenging situation concerning the youth and its development. And you can see since the 1990s, since this EFA started, actually there's a lot of progress has been made. A lot of young people, more young people in school. But however, still today we're facing a very, very challenging situation. Like for example, we have 61 million children, they are in the school-aged, primary school age, but they are not in school. At the secondary level, they're talking about 71 million young people. They're supposed to be in the secondary school, but they are not. They are outside of the school system, and they don't have opportunity to learn and to have these training opportunities. And also, you can see from the report, many of the young people, they graduate even from primary school, still cannot read and write properly. And so you can see this is really the challenging situation. And they are talking about 250 million young people, after they graduate from primary school, they still cannot read and write properly. So you can see the situation is a very, very challenge. And this situation is even worse at the secondary level. And today, as I just mentioned, almost half of the secondary school-aged young people not in school in the most poor countries. So you can see half of them. And then you can see how serious the situation. And then also we have another challenge is we have the population. Like in Africa, it's a very young population over there. And then according to ILO, in the next 10 years, we have to create 600 million jobs if we want to maintain the current employment rate. So you can see what kind of a situation, what kind of a challenge we're facing for education and training. I know today we only have about 3 years left until we get to 2015, the years we should reach our MDG goals and also should reach our EFA goals. Now, what we need to do in the next 3 years, we have to make a last push before the deadline so we can accelerate to reach those goals we set up 12 years ago. And then what we need to do, we need to have right policies, we need to have a right education planning, we need to have a sufficient level of financing, and also the good way to spend money, and also we have to motivate the whole societies, all stakeholders to contribute to education. I think that's exactly what you are here for, and you can talk about the policies, what should be the policy of the national government, what the minister should do in their own country to really to make commitment to have this education for all. And then UNESCO really strongly support your efforts, and the same as the United Nations community. As you probably already know, recently Mr. Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of United Nations, launched a new initiative called Education First. He launched it last month in New York. And basically this is an additional push for education for all, to hopefully we can have member states to make more commitment, and also international community can make more commitment to support education for all. And in this initiative, they are talking about 3 things. The first is to continue to expand access to education. Second, they're talking about improve the quality of education. The third thing they are talking about is global citizenship. This comes back to our basic principle of our education. We really have to train the young generation. They become a responsible citizen of the society. And then we promote the peace, and then we can promote sustainable development in future. So in order to reach the education for all goals, we need our member states to show their political commitment and to take strong measures. And many policymakers here in this forum, they are ministers, they are education specialists. I think the key is if they can make political commitment to really accelerate their work to reach the education for all goals. And also when I talk about the financing, I believe domestic financing is the key. All the external assistance cannot work without an internal domestic political commitment. So this is, we firmly believe we should do this way. And I hope this meeting will also give you some ideas. Khalil said maybe not anything new, but I believe you do have something new. And also I believe you take this opportunity to networking yourself and to find opportunity for the future cooperation among different countries and maybe across the continent. And also, of course, then you're talking about the education policy. You talk about the youth policy, and also talk about the technical vocational education and training. And of course, this is so important that if we have to equip our young people to get a decent job, that is really very vital conditions we have to provide to young people. So as far as UNESCO's work goes, the results of this policy forum will be very useful for us to decide our future work. Because UNESCO now is in the turning point. We are working on our next, we call medium-term strategy until year 2021. So this is the right timing. We can take whatever you recommend to UNESCO. What are the important issues? And what are the measures you expect UNESCO to do? And then we can put into our medium-term strategy, which we can push from now until the year 2021. So finally, on behalf of the Director General of UNESCO, I'd like to thank all of you for your participation, and also thank your contribution. And you are not helping yourself, but also you are helping UNESCO to fix our program and budget in the future. And normally in UNESCO, it's not a habit also, when we do the closing remarks, we normally have to thank your participation. Normally we don't thank our own people. But this time I have to thank Khalil, my dear colleague, and his team for the wonderful work they have done to help this conference. So let me wish you a pleasant journey to home, and we hope we continue to work together, and then in the next, say, 10 years, then we can work together to get more closer to the goal, to get everybody, every young people to get an opportunity to have education and have a better future. Thank you so much.
Chairs of UNESCO, Alan, Pat, would you like to come up and say a few words in closing?
I'm very conscious of the time. I suppose just to finish on my own behalf, firstly I'd like to thank my colleagues in the Child and Family Research Centre at NUI Galway in Ireland, and particularly my colleague Aileen Shaw, who put a huge amount of work into this forum. I'd also like to thank the Lindsay Board, particularly because Lindsay has been the driving force behind this event. I'm not going to steal everything because I know Alan Smith has lots he wants to say, but what I would like to say is that one thing that has become very strong for me over the last 3 days, listening to ministers, to colleagues in other universities, to youth and others, is that the solution is not immediate, but the plan to the solution is immediate. And I do think there is much for us to build on from this forum. And UNESCO is all of us. UNESCO is not just here in Paris. We are all part of UNESCO's community, and I certainly plan in my role as UNESCO Chair for Children, Youth and Civic Engagement to bring this forward to real and tangible ways for young people and with young people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat. I would just like to add, from our perspective, this has been a very positive partnership with UNESCO IIEP. We appreciate all the work that the team have done. Also with the World Assembly of Youth and Ediola, we're very grateful for their involvement. I think Pat and I are trying to take seriously this challenge to UNESCO chairs to be useful. We do expect to follow up on this. We do expect to try and engage with, not just with UNESCO, but with other partners and other agencies. We do take seriously the role which is partly about bridge building between policy and practice, and also bridge building sometimes between within our own organisations ourselves. I'm very conscious, for example, from the peace building perspective. I will certainly be looking to follow up with Khalil and his associates about how we can take forward some practical outputs in terms of maybe new knowledge generation about the role of youth in peace building. But I'm also currently involved with our sister UN organisation UNICEF, who are currently implementing a €120 million programme in 14 conflict-affected countries, many of whom ministers were represented here today. So there's an opportunity for that kind of knowledge transfer from the thinking that has come from the multiple perspectives here to influence the way in which our sister organisations are undertaking conflict analysis in those countries, the way in which they're seeking to involve youth, etc. So thank you for all your involvements, and thank you again to Khalil and UNESCO IIEP. Safe home.
Colleagues, I got a lot of thanks personally. I personally do not deserve them. The people who deserve the thanks are the people who worked day and night really for a long, long period, and our partners who really lobbied and networked and fundraised and so on. It's really not only the youth, but the youth in spirit as well, who have worked day and night and many long hours. So I really wish to thank the team, although I shouldn't be thanking my own people, but I do not deserve the thanks. They deserve the thanks. I also want to thank all the youth organizations who really participated in this with passion, with commitment, as we have seen. And they came a long way, many of them with very complicated procedures and visa applications and travel. So I really thank them from the bottom of my heart. I thank all of you because you have contributed so generously with your time, with your ideas, with your experiences. And if you allow me, normally I deal with ministers, but I was so impressed that the ministers came before the forum started and joined an excellent meeting with IIEP. They were all there. They were all ready to give ideas before we started the forum on Wednesday afternoon. Was it Tuesday afternoon? Sorry. And they are still, some of them are still here, although they have very, very strong and heavy commitments. So I really wish to thank the ministers for staying and sharing and accepting that we are all in this together with the youth. Thank you very much, ministers, and thank you very much, everybody. And Mr. Tang, if you allow me, please express our thanks to colleagues at UNESCO headquarters. We had originally planned for 60 to 80 people to come to this forum, and in the intimacy of a smaller place, IIP. We were so much under pressure, and it's the first time in my life that I tell to ministers, please, can you not come, please? It was so difficult for me, I thought I would lose my job, Mr. Tang. So some of them sympathized and did not come, but then we had finally to succumb to a lot of pressure from all of you. We moved to here, and immediately headquarters, although overwhelmed, overworked during this period, provided us with facilities, with support. So that to the team in headquarters and to you all, we thank you also. We're part of you, but we wish to thank you. And we wish to thank you. Please come up, because you have been an excellent partner to us, the World Assembly of Youth, and the youth in general. So we wish to give you the last voice in this forum.
Thank you. As it says in here, plan with youth, so the young people should have the last voice. Don't you agree with me? Yeah. So let me just say thank you to all the partners, of course, with IIEP first. Please give a round of applause to Lindsay. She deserves it. Please. She has been working day and night, and her team, Lynn and everybody, and Estelle and Annie and everybody else that, sorry, I can't remember all the name right now, but you deserve it. Because there are the young people behind this team. I would like to thank our partners, the UNESCO co-chairs, and also, of course, UNESCO. Thank you so much. I would like to thank the young people for being here, the ministers that took their time to join us here, the policymakers, of course, at the same time, also the academicians, but most of all, to the young people. Thank you so much. Please keep it going, because this is for you and only for you. Thank you. And in that tradition of way, I have to give a surprise token to Mr. Khalil for allowing way to be part of this event. Thank you.
This is a very nice plaque from the Way Forward, World Assembly of Youth. Thank you very much. Colleagues, I think we can say, I'm so delightful that she mentioned names. I couldn't have done it because I don't. Anyway, I think we're all happy. If you allow me, Minister Haroon gave me something today in the sense of that we are from different cultures, but we can very well integrate. I will do something which I normally do not do. He gave me this. And I will put it on. The Zanzibari hat. Thank you, Mr. Haroon. The forum is closed. Thank you.